A teen couple has been arrested in connection to these murders tonight, and I spoke to the 15-year-old suspect's father, who says his daughter's decision has crushed his family after she killed her own grandmother and his own mother.
Can't show her no sympathy.
Marcus May tells me his teen daughter made a decision that is just heartbreaking. The 15-year-old and her 16-year-old boyfriend accused of shooting 7 of their family members, killing 5 of them. The victims, Patricia May, her daughter, Cherie May, her son, Devin May, 24 years old, who leaves behind a 1-year-old daughter, and siblings Quentin and Shania Thompson, ages 21 and 25. 2 other family members survived this attack, the shooting taking place at 3 locations. The Samuel Gompers complex, where a bouquet of flowers now sits at the front door, a home at 39th and Summit and Jones Park. The teenage suspects were captured following a police chase at a nearby park. While preparing to say 5 final goodbyes, heartbroken family members hope the focus remains on the lives they touched, not the tragedy.
Know that he was a great father, a great person, a great man.
My granny's someone so loved. She's so loved, and it just hurts to see that she was gone like this. It just really hurts so bad.
When you look at the raw details, the story that's circulating, shared in hushed tones through text messages, reveals the motive behind this destruction. People are asking the hard questions, and the answers are chilling. In a text exchange, one person asks, "Do y'all know who did it?" The response comes back swift and devastating. "Their lil' sis." It's a hard truth to digest, but the messages explain that all the shootings in the city were connected. The narrative continues. Her and her boyfriend went on a killing spree because no one would let them shack up at their house. The context provided by these messages is damning. In the text, the boyfriend got kicked out because he stole a gun. According to the text, when Juanita asked if he could stay with them, she stood her ground and said no. The situation escalated from there. She stole Tiffany's gun and left. She then called and ambushed him. This is a tragedy that shouldn't have happened. A cold-blooded case of family annihilation that cuts deep into the heart of East St. Louis and exposes a crumbling moral foundation within our community. What started as a dispute over household boundaries spiraled into a nightmare where 5 lives were taken by 2 teenagers, one of whom was allegedly blood to the victims, turning a quiet neighborhood into a crime scene across 3 separate locations. This story serves as a harsh reality check on what happens when the family structure is neglected and accountability is thrown out the window, leading to the senseless loss of Cherie L. May, Devin D. May, Patricia A. May, Quentin L. Thompson, and Shania W. Thompson. This situation is a wake-up call for our community. If we aren't teaching our kids that there are consequences to their actions, and if we aren't protecting the sanctity of the family, we're just watching the cycle repeat itself. These teenagers didn't just kill their family, they killed a piece of our future. They're currently in custody, and they're gonna have to face the music for what they did. It's about time we stop making excuses for behavior that goes against everything that keeps a neighborhood upright. We need to focus on what matters, protecting our kin, teaching our youth about hard work and respect, and making sure that these red stories don't keep popping up on the evening news. While this is a dark time for the survivors, who now have to plan 5 funerals instead of 5 family gatherings, we have to keep pushing for better. The police are handling the investigation, and we hope justice is swift and absolute. If you appreciate the truth and want to stay informed on what's really going down in our streets, don't just watch, get involved by spreading the word. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my Today's Red Stories page. Let's keep our eyes open and our communities tight.
The Illinois State Police, along with the East St. Louis Police Department, are investigating a targeted mass shooting against a family here in East St. Louis. Preliminary investigation indicates that 2 16-year-old suspects were taken into custody on Sunday, July 12th, today, 2026. After Illinois State Police officers successfully executed a precision immobilization technique maneuver on the vehicle when took into custody one of the suspected individuals suspected in this horrible, horrible crime, and that suspect, one of the suspects, was driving that vehicle. At least 7 members of the targeted family were shot at multiple locations in the East St. Louis area. And as of right now, 5 victims have been confirmed deceased. One of these was at 39th and Summit, 3 at the Gompers Public Housing Project, 1 here at Jones Park, which is right here behind us. 2 individuals at Jones Park were also shot. They have, at least as of now, they have survived. They have serious injuries, and they are at a hospital in St. Louis. The Illinois State Police has been in close contact with the state's attorney's office and will be seeking charges against the suspects. The investigation remains fluid and remains active, and additional information will be released as it becomes available. Now, right now, there is no known threat to the public. I just want to be clear. This is not currently an active shooter situation. The suspects that were involved have been taken into custody, are in the custody of the Illinois State Police at this time. Let me just say this. This community, the community of East St. Louis, has worked very hard with the Illinois State Police, with our partners and the City of East St. Louis Police to reduce violence, to stop violence here in this community. They have come a long way, working together with law enforcement, working with our partners in the community. And I just want to say that these alleged acts of horrific violence, taking this number of lives here in this community, it's terrible, it's evil, but it will not keep this city down. The progress we have made will not be lost as a result of this terrible, terrible acts of violence that have occurred in this community today. So this is the City of Champions. I'm glad to have our partners with us from the City of East St. Louis. This will not deter this community from continuing to do the good work of keeping people safe so that they can have a brighter day here in this city. So with that, I'll take questions. Not sure much I could add at this point because, again, this is ongoing as we speak, this investigation and those 3 different crime scenes. And those are the names of the deceased. I will make sure that you have those. That is Cherie L. May. She has a date of birth of 10/11/76. Quentin L. Thompson, November 15th, 2004. Devin D. May, February 17th, 2002. Shania Thompson, September 26th, 2000. And Patricia May, January 8th, 1952. So with that, I'll try to answer whatever questions I can.
Can you say anything about the motive potentially for this?
Not yet at this point. We are still investigating that. We are getting some information. The picture is coming together. We have a lot of Illinois State Police special agents, troopers, officers from our local partners that are actively involved investigating those particular questions. And I think that'll become apparent over time.
How do you know it was targeted?
You can look at the family relationship and the relationship to the suspects that have been apprehended. And you can see that it was focused on this particular family.
Are you able to tell us that relationship between?
Not particularly between the 2 suspects and all the various deceased, but it's a large family, some direct family, other relations.
Are the suspects related?
Well, the suspects related to.
Are the suspects kin to each other?
One of them is, yes.
How senior?
Not yet at this point, because it all depends on which victim you're talking about. But there is a family connection.
Okay,
Cousins,
so one
perhaps.
of the suspects is related to
Correct.
one of the victims.
At least one of them, correct, yes.
Are the victims related to each other?
Yes, this is a family. Yeah, like I said, yes. Yeah.
Mother, daughter, cousin?
I can't tell you all those yet. It depends on which victims you're talking about, and we are still trying to make sure we're very clear about what those relationships are.
Did the victims live together?
These are 3 different locations. So we had people out here in Jones Park that were the victim of this violence. We have people that were at in a residence in the Gompers, and then we have a separate residence where it's 39th and Summit. Families, as you know, may go from different, place to place, depending on what their situation in life is or what it is from day to day, depending where you might be staying for the night.
Were there any bystander victims, especially at the park or public
No.
location?
No, there's another reason why we can characterize it as targeted, because there was no people that were unrelated to this particular family or the individuals that were involved with this family. So as of right now, we have no indication that any innocent bystanders were affected.
Are you guys calling this a mass shooting, even though it happened at multiple different locations, different times?
Because they are all related, and because of the definition of what a mass shooting is, and also the proximity that, yes, this is a large city, and these are multiple complex crime scenes, but because of one common connection and the way this is unplayed, it may be appropriate to characterize it as a mass shooting.
What was the time span of the incident? From what point to what point? How long did it last?
Well, obviously today were some of the key time frame of when the events occurred. But it is possible some of this was stretched out over a period as well. But again, we're investigating that, and that is obviously part of the forensics that we're investigating.
So this was all yesterday, or?
Primarily today, and it's possible over a different time frame as well. As of right now, I can give you this information as to what was occurring today.
Where were the suspects arrested?
The suspects, I believe, were in Frank Holden State Park.
Any kind of shooting of this magnitude in the historical context for the city and this ISP investigative zone, has anything like this ever happened?
So I will say, I wish there were no prior cases where you had a quintuple homicide where 5 people have been deceased. It has happened in the history of the Illinois State Police and in the history of East St. Louis. If you go back decades and decades, but it is very rare. And there are very few people that work with the Illinois State Police today, or the East St. Louis Police, or that even in this community that can remember something like this happening.
To clarify the time, do we just say today, this morning, this afternoon?
At least today. At least today.
This morning?
Yes.
The shooting.
Name of the victim? Sorry.
Yes. The victims, I can read them again. Cherie May, Quentin Thompson, Devin May, Shania Thompson, and Patricia May. And we can have our PIOs get you a copy of that as well.
What are the charges for?
No one's been charged yet. It's under investigation. We have 2 suspects that are in custody, and we are seeking charges with the St. Clair County State's Attorney's Office, actively working with them. Again, what initiated a law enforcement response to these events began today.
And the suspects were 16?
The 2 suspects that are currently in custody are juveniles age 16. Yeah.
Does that make it difficult for the investigation moving forward?
There are undoubtedly specific limitations and rules that the state of Illinois, and that's pretty common across the country, that you have when how law enforcement has to investigate and interact with a juvenile. There are certain circumstances in which the nature of the offenses that are involved, the laws related to adults and how adults are prosecuted, those could apply to a juvenile under certain circumstances.
Have any weapons been recovered?
Not going to talk about that yet at this point.
How were you alerted of this?
So there was East St. Louis received the initial call to investigate some remains, and that's what initiated at least one part of it.
Are you releasing any details about the suspects, like their car or anything? Are you asking the public for help?
No, I mean, and obviously, when we do this and we provide this information to the public, if there's any, good citizen, good neighbor that may have seen something and they have some additional information they want to provide, by all means, please contact the Illinois State Police. Please contact the East St. Louis Police Department. We don't have a specific request of the public in terms of looking for a particular vehicle. Again, the suspects that we are focused on at this point are in custody, and they were apprehended in a vehicle this morning.
Were the parents of those 16-year-olds contacted?
Again, that's something that we're not going to discuss here, but there is a process that the law requires when you are dealing with a juvenile.
Any idea how the teens had access to guns?
No, not that I can comment on this point yet. That's still part of the investigation. Anything else?
Can you tell us the locations, the 3 crime scenes again?
So the 3 locations are here at Jones Park, the Gompers public housing project, and then the area, a residence over in the area of 39th and Summit.
quick apprehension,
What else?
quick turnaround. Thanks for the info.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Authorities say a family was targeted in a mass shooting that stretched across East St. Louis. 5 family members killed at 3 different crime scenes. And tonight, 2 teens are in custody. Fox News' Cameron Mendoza has the latest from investigators and city leaders, along with reaction from neighbors.
This feels like something that would happen on the first 48, not nowhere near, right across from me.
Neighbors Kevion Johnson and Samuel McLean Jr. at Gompers Public Housing Unit were in shock.
It's a peaceful neighborhood, so when everybody get woke up and to hear that it's a female deceased, that's a lot because we're not used to it.
By the details of a quintuple homicide that happened on Sunday.
At least 7 members of the targeted family were shot at multiple locations in the East St. Louis area. And as of right now, 5 victims have been confirmed deceased.
We're brothers and sisters, and I don't like to see my women lose their lives. I don't like to see nobody lose their lives, and especially here. Our city prides just connection and brotherhood and sisters, you know what I mean? So to see anything like this, it's hard for me.
Police tell us this happened this morning across 3 different places. 1 person died at a shooting at a home at 39th and Summit. 3 other victims were shot in a home at the Gompers Public Housing Complex. 1 person died after being shot in Jones Park. 2 people were shot at Jones Park, and they survived but have serious injuries. The victims are 49-year-old Cherie L. May, 21-year-old Quentin L. Thompson, 24-year-old Devin D. May, 25-year-old Shania W. Thompson, and 74-year-old Patricia A. May. Police arrested a 15 and 16-year-old after the shootings at Frank Holden State Park. Director for the Illinois Police, Brendan Kelly, says there's not a motive at this time as the investigation continues into how the events unfolded, but there are relations between the victims and the suspects.
It's terrible, it's evil, but it will not keep this city down. The progress we have made will not be lost as a result of this terrible, terrible acts of violence that have occurred in this community today.
We spoke with East St. Louis City Councilman Courtney Hoffman, who came to the press conference Sunday afternoon. And while police are classifying this as a mass shooting by technical circumstances.
This is not a mass shooting that you don't have to worry about going to the grocery store and someone shooting at you or anything like that. This is a one-off in a sense, so it's not something the whole community to be afraid of.
In East St. Louis, Cameron Mendoza, Fox 2 News.